Welcome to the PR Bunker Podcast, the war room for PR, marketing, and media strategy. Hosted by me, Don Martelli, former reporter turned PR and marketing strategist with over 20 years of experience in reputation management, media relations, and brand positioning. Each episode, I cut through the noise and get real about the challenges and opportunities in PR, marketing, and corporate communications. I sit down with innovators, disruptors, big thinkers, and challengers who are reshaping industries, breaking the rules, and making headlines. Whether it's navigating a crisis, crafting the perfect pitch, or building a brand that actually sticks, this is where strategies are built, stories come to life, and reputations are won or lost. If you're in the trenches of PR and marketing, buckle up. This is the PR Bunker. No fluff, no bullshit, no spin, just the real talk you need to lead in today's media landscape. Let's get started. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the PR Bunker. As you can probably tell, I'm actually not down in the bunker today. I decided to switch it up, specifically because, one, I wanted a little more sunlight and get out of the darkness of the bunker. And brightness and sunlight reminds me of beautiful nonprofits I work with, including Rodman for Kids, that has a tremendous mission, does great work. And that on behalf of Rodman for Kids is Jane Lima, who's a good friend of mine, great colleague. Jane, thank you for joining me today in the PR Bunker.
Of course. I'm very excited to be here, although it's not really the PR Bunker right now.
That's right. It's
the PR dining room.
That's right. We're above the bunker. We're above the fray today. Here at the PR Bunker, we talk about communications, marketing, and my work is about mission-driven, impact-focused type of stuff, and that's what Rodman is all about. So I'd love for you to tell our audience, first and foremost, your background in marketing, communications, and then we could talk about Rodman for Kids.
So I'm currently the marketing and communications manager at Rodman for Kids. I've been at the organization for about 3.5 years, but I have been affiliated with Rodman for Kids since the womb. Rodman for Kids, part of what we do is we work with different youth-focused nonprofits across Massachusetts, and one of those nonprofits is actually where my parents met, and they were involved in our signature event, the Ride for Kids, for years. And so I grew up learning about Rodman for Kids. It was a household name in my house. And I begged my mom when I was 10 years old to finally let me go and see what this Ride for Kids is all about. I've heard about it my whole life. So I did, and I volunteered there until I was a senior in college. And then I graduated with a psychology degree. I was convinced that I wanted to be a therapist, and shout out to all of the mental health therapists out there. You're doing God's work. I could not do that, but I still wanted to help people in some way. And I looked at, my background, my family's background, and I was like, this is great work that we're doing in a way that isn't doing the direct work. And so I went to the National MS Society, and I worked in development there for about 1.5 years before I came over to Rodman for Kids. I don't have a marketing background. I kind of started from the ground up and am self-taught and have some great mentors like you, Don, who have kind of helped me find my way. And I'm very proud to say that I'm now a marketing professional in the nonprofit space, which is wild. I did not think this was where my journey would take me.
That's great. And I think a lot of folks that are in marketing, communications, in these particular roles, we all know the importance of storytelling, because at the end of the day, we're all 30 seconds away from our next distraction, and getting somebody's attention to pay attention to missions and the work that nonprofits do is really hard. And so your story probably makes the job even more fruitful. So you and I are in an elevator. I'm like, Rodman for Kids, what is that? Kind of give me the pitch. What's the mission, and talk about the impact of the work.
Yeah, absolutely. So Rodman for Kids is a nonprofit for nonprofits. And what I mean by that is there is so much good work that nonprofits in Massachusetts, especially in the greater Boston area, are doing for kids in the community. But especially in today's climate, there's not anything supporting them. And I don't just mean financially, I mean like boots on the ground support for nonprofits. And so that's where Rodman for Kids comes in. We provide a community and kind of a hub for these nonprofit leaders to come together, learn from each other, network, collaborate, providing them with some financial support, because obviously that is vital, especially now, but giving them this community to lean on and support them through the incredible work that they're doing. In the nonprofit space, it can kind of feel as if you're fighting for donor dollars, or you're, fighting for programs. And that's really it's true, because that's the reality of the situation, but we're all trying to do similar work, and that's help kids. And so kind of having this community at Rodman for Kids to bring these organizations together to say, like, we can support each other. I've got a kid at my program who really wants to be a pilot when he gets older. We have this nonprofit called Above the Clouds that actually takes kids on dream flights, and they get to go one-on-one into a private airplane with a pilot and learn about that. Or I have this young girl who really needs more confidence and wants to be with some like-minded individuals. Well, the Soul Project is a female empowerment group for girls and women. So just being able to have those connections to better serve their kids, that's really what it comes down to. And that's just one part of what we do at Rodman for Kids. I know this is a very long elevator pitch, so the elevator, it's the Empire State Building. The other part of what we do at Rodman for Kids is we have a Theater for Kids program, and that is where we enrich kids through the power of theater to introduce them to the arts, to let them know that they are welcome in the space that they otherwise may not have known about or been able to access. We're all about breaking down barriers to the arts, and so I'm very excited to say that by the end of this year, we will have enriched the 100,000 kids through our Theater for Kids program. Very excited for that. We've got a big marketing campaign coming out for that, so coming out tomorrow. So yeah, lots of fun stuff, but we do incredible work. Yeah.
It's incredible work. I love the impact, especially on kids, and showing them that there's avenues to reach those dreams beyond what the kind of society tells you should be doing. Go into the trades, go to college, do these particular things. Not that any of that is bad, but giving people the option. So sounds to me like your job is not really your job. You really enjoy what you do.
It's not work.
Yeah, not work.
I've never had a job where I look forward to going into the office on Mondays. Like, I don't have the Sunday scaries. So the vision of Rodman for Kids is we believe every young person deserves access to the programs, resources, and opportunities that they need to dream, grow, and succeed. And we're committed to raising resources, building capacity, and creating opportunities for youth-focused nonprofits, their leaders, and most importantly, the kids that they serve.
That's great. And I know recently you had a little trip to New York, right? What was that about?
Just a little trip to New York. Yeah, so we actually connected with Taunton High School. They approached us and said, the current lead of Christian in Moulin Rouge on Broadway is a Taunton High School alumni. And they wanted to bring their theater program to see this, to have that real life tangible impact that they can see, like, this man walked the halls that I'm currently walking in Taunton High and is now up on, like, Broadway, like, he made it. So we brought 85 kids from Taunton High School on Wednesday, March 19th to Broadway, to New York City. Most of them, it was their first time seeing a professional show. We're not even in Broadway in New York, just seeing a professional show. After the performance, on Cardoza, the lead, actually came out and did a talk back with the kids, answering questions from, like, how did you get from Taunton High to now you're in Broadway? What do you do for vocal rest? Like, anything you can think of, because these are kids that are interested in the arts and wanted to learn more from someone that they can relate to. So it was incredible. Just, I believe we did a survey after the performance, and 93% of the kids said that they were more interested in either pursuing a career in the arts or using skills that they learned through the arts in a career in the future, which is incredible. So
that's great. That's great. And it shows that while you're sitting in your office, working from home, working on content and social campaigns and website work, you can actually physically see the impact, which is, which probably, creates a cyclical, heartfelt push, right? Like, you're working on these things, you think about it, you execute against campaigns, develop content, tell those stories, then experience the experience you've described literally in person, which I'm sure creates this sort of cycle of, like, I want more.
It's wild to me how, you can get so caught up in the day-to-day, right? Like, doing the campaigns, doing the content creation, writing blog posts, the whole nine. And you can get so caught up in it that you lose focus of what you're creating. And so I especially our Theater for Kids performances, they always put things in perspective. I actually live in Taunton, so it's ironic that we did that, but I live in Taunton. And so when we have performances for Theater for Kids in Boston, I'm always like, oh, I have to drive an hour and a half, I have to get parking, whatever. And then I walk into the theater and I see the kids, and it all clicks. It all makes sense. It puts things in perspective. And so I'm very lucky that the work that we do gives me that opportunity to put things in perspective so frequently.
Sure. That's great.
I went yesterday and recorded a testimonial of this young girl. And again, just seeing the impact of what you're doing, especially with Rodman for Kids, we don't have direct service programs. Theater for Kids, we use our charity partners to provide the tickets, or other local nonprofits or schools. So we don't have direct service. We don't work directly with kids. So being able to go out and interview a kid and learn about the impact that we've had on her, like, there's no words to it. It just makes everything make sense.
And that's the core storytelling, right? You have to, you can talk about the mission, talk about Rodman for Kids, all the work that you do, but it's literally through that word of mouth channel and those feedback mechanisms from the students, from the parents, the other adults that experience these things, that just are the best piece of gold you can ever use in marketing. And I know another big event that you do every single year is the Ride. And if you're familiar with Rodman for Kids, everybody knows about the Ride. It's been around for quite some time. A little bit of a twist on it this year, which is really, really cool. Great idea. I'll quickly tell our audience here, what is the Ride? What's the purpose, and what's going on with it this year?
Yeah, so the Rodman Ride for Kids, this is our 35th anniversary, which is very exciting. It is a fundraising platform that we provide to our charity partners free of charge. So basically, Rodman for Kids covers everything. If you've put on a wedding, if you've put on any event, you know that there is an expense to literally everything, from the tents, tables, and chairs down to the credit card fees. And so Rodman for Kids covers all of that, so that 100% of the money that our charity partners raise goes back to them so that they can put it into their programs and better serve their kids. The event typically takes place in September, and we decided, looking at we did some surveys, did some research, we have moved it to, for the 35th anniversary, it will be Saturday, May 17th, first ever in the spring, as well as we have launched the first annual Rodman Ride for Kids Junior, because we recognize that philanthropy should be accessible to everyone, and there are so many kids that want to give back but can't do the 25 or 50 mile route of the Ride for Kids for liability reasons and safety reasons. And so we decided to launch the Ride for Kids Junior. So we have two options for kids this year. The tiny obstacle ride is for kids ages 4 to 7. It's a little loop with obstacles for your bike, so little ramps and tunnels to go through, and just fun. And then the mini ride is for kids 8 to 12, or anyone older who needs an accessible option. That's a 1 mile loop. It's completely blocked off, no public roads. A 1 mile loop that you can do up to 5 times, so that you can kids can get ready to do the big ride. And it's really exciting. Again, we recognize that philanthropy is not just in the form of finances. You can give your time, you can give your talent, you can give your resources. And so being able to teach kids at a young age that, first of all, philanthropy is fun. You can give back and have fun doing it, as well as just getting them involved in charity work at a young age, we're helping to raise the next generation of philanthropists.
Love that. I mean, it's building good habits and kind of impacting the culture. And by the way, as an aside, as a PR person that's always looking for good news and ways to tell these stories, the visualization of the younger kids riding through those courses is just PR gold. It's absolutely PR gold. I've, in my career, when I was a journalist, I had a few front page articles, but the one that was probably the best was Above the Fold. And it led the paper with a big photo, and there was a cop, a statey, standing over a young kid who was on a little tricycle doing this thing called Safety Town. It was basically a Department of Transportation event where they taught kids how to, stop at stop signs, slow down for yellow signs, which nobody does in Massachusetts, by the way. We see yellow and we speed right through it, but it was kind of building good habits for kids driving cars, if you will. And the lead that I wrote was the The driver saw the yellow light and sped up through it and was stopped by a cop. Sound familiar? It's like your average day in Massachusetts. You might have thought this was on your local streets, but it was actually an example for Safety Town. So kind of a creative lead. So that visualization of those young kids and tricycles and little bikes and those oversized helmets and those little, pea-sized heads. I mean, the cuteness is going to be overload. So good job envisioning that and bringing that to life. I mean, that's going to be pure gold. I mean, the ride gets coverage as it is because it's just such a big event. And even last year, in the downpouring rain, we got pretty decent coverage. It's a good moment in time. What's beyond the ride and beyond the theater program, which is also, by the way, not just kids, but you create programming for kids that have other sensory, visual, and hearing issues, which I think is also phenomenal. What's next for Rodman for Kids? I mean, you've done a rebrand, launched a new website, re-envisioned the ride. And I mean, for a nonprofit that is helping other nonprofits, you're not sleepy. There's always something going on. And Amy, who's taken over for Don Rodman, does incredible work. What's next for Rodman? What are you excited about?
I'm excited about everything. Rodman for Kids, when I started back in 2021, I was told that we're a 30-year startup. And it feels like we are on the cusp of something great. And I think that having that rebrand and relaunching the website and doing the thing, the 35th year is going to be a big one. And I think what I'm most excited about is the fact that we're not slowing down. We are at a really sweet spot with our 40 charity partners, bringing the 100,000th kid to the theater. But I think instead of growing how big we're getting, we're going deeper. And we're finding more ways to support our charity partners. And we're deepening the enrichment opportunities for the Theater for Kids program. So while the numbers are expanding, we're also going deeper into the work that we're doing. And so that is it's so exciting to be a part of that growth of Rodman for Kids. Since I've been here, we've grown from a team of 4 to now we're going to a team of 8. So it's crazy. We're growing rapidly, but we're also, like I said, we're going deeper in our engagement and the support that we're doing, which is really cool to be a part of.
That's great. Love that. As we wrap up here, if people need to learn more about Rodman, connect with you, where can they learn more about Rodman and get engaged?
So definitely go to our website. It's rodmanforkids.org.
And it's F-O-R, not the letter 4,
right?
Not
F-O-R. The number 4. That's right. And so you can go there on our contact page. All of our staff is there and you can email us from there. I'm on there if you're interested in, supporting fundraising wise. Our development director is on there if you're interested in volunteering. Message our events manager. So there's all sorts of ways to get involved with Rodman for Kids, and we're looking forward to having you with us.
Love it. If you're a nonprofit running other missions in the state, what's that engagement look like with Rodman for Kids? Is there a way up for the kind of the connection to be made? What's that look like?
Absolutely. So if you're looking to become one of our charity partners, you can reach out to our partnerships and events manager. We also typically have an application that goes up closer to when we are when we're taking on nonprofits towards the end of the year. If you're interested in bringing kids to the theater through your program, we have a ticket inquiry form on our website if you go to the Theater for Kids section, or you can reach out to our Theater for Kids program manager.
Awesome. Well, one, great work. I think such a great mission, and having a nonprofit do the work that you do that also supports other nonprofits in the state is just an incredible story, an incredible ecosystem. And I've met several of your charity partners, which is great. And it's not all about theater and kids and rides. There's just a collection of nonprofits that help children in a variety of ways. So it's incredible work. Excited to see your journey as somebody who's not a marketing person turn into a marketing person. And as we've gotten to do PR work together, you get the sense of news. So I think, storytelling is at the core of what we do. And I think Rodman has an incredible story. So thank you for joining me on the PR Bunker podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
See you later.
Bye.
Thank you for joining me yet again on an episode of the PR Bunker. Thankful for my friend Jane Lima from Rodman for Kids to joining me today. Love her story from somebody who was involved in the organization, as a youngster, and eventually finds her way there to work on behalf of the organization. Doing incredible work. The support that they provide to other nonprofits, the Ride for Kids, the theater programming, just incredible work. The impact of young lives in and around theater experiences, and connecting with people and showing that there's opportunities beyond just going to shows, and how to get involved in those communities is really important. So I commend them for the work. If you want to subscribe to this podcast, please do so through Spotify and other things. But I want to thank Jane Lima again for joining me on the PR Bronco podcast. Until next time, we out.